Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope you're having a very, very good Wednesday wherever you are. To my right is Alfred, and Alfred is here to talk about Jarrod Bowen. Before I get started, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV if you want to. If you don't, it's fine. We still love you on this channel, whoever you are. Alf, how are you doing, man?
Very well. I'd like to reiterate that point quickly. Please, if you're watching, click the subscribe button. I know personally when I watch YouTube videos, I sometimes don't even think about subscribing to the creator. So just a reminder to please subscribe if you're watching the video.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Thank you very much as art creator. Jarrod Bowen, mate. Rumours are circulating. The vultures are out. What are you saying about him in regards of a new contract? Take it away.
There's obviously rumours about him in a release clause and him possibly not signing a contract. My opinion is that he will sign the contract. My opinion is that the club are relaxed about the situation. I think he will sign one come Christmas. I don't think there'll be a release clause, and if there is, I think it'd be insanity if it was 50 million. I don't think Jarrod or his representatives would propose something like that either, because in this market, 50 million for Jarrod Bowen, I mean, as a release clause is just ridiculous, really, especially with the start to the season he's had.
There's no way he's a 50 million pound release clause get at. No way. Right. I just don't believe it at all. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you look at Kudus, who come in for 45, are you telling me that Jarrod Bowen's going to go for an extra 5 million more? Right now, it's mad, mate. It's mad. I honestly don't believe it. Yeah, I've seen my stuff on social media, and for me, when I look at the 50 million pound release clause, I just think it's just to scare him into trying to do something. West Ham, if I'm being honest. Do you know what I mean? I don't believe it at all. I really don't. I think Jarrod Bowen signs a new deal. I think he loves West Ham. I think the only problem we've got currently right now, and it is a slight problem, is the fact that Liverpool might lose Salah. Yeah. And if Saudis come in and offer 200 million for Mohamed Salah, the first place they're knocking is on West Ham's door for Jarrod Bowen. What are you saying?
Yeah, and especially if he keeps scoring, I don't want his spell to dry up, but if he keeps scoring at the rate he is, then big clubs are obviously going to be interested, because he's the third top scorer in the Premier League at the moment, and the two in front of him are playing up front, so he's the highest scoring winger in the Premier League. Yeah, he's been outstanding this year. He's great defensively. He's a workhorse. He can shoot. He can create. And I think I put something out on Twitter about how I think personally he would suit Liverpool, and people were coming at me for some reason, but I think he would. Obviously, I hope we keep him, but I could see why they're interested.
I spoke to a Liverpool fan the other week before we done the sort of like the opposition preview, and I spoke to him like sort of on the quiet, and he said to us that Liverpool are looking at Bowen, and they've been looking at him for a while. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think they know that Salah is going to go eventually, and they look at him. He's obviously English, so it also goes to down on the British quota. You know what I mean? And they are monitoring him big time, right? I was having a bit of a situation though, Alf, yeah, that maybe they might have to sell Bowen because they ain't going to get the right money for him next season, sort of thing. I
think Danny Dyer will be in his ear telling him to sign the deal, and I do think he will. I think people are getting a bit over worried.
Yeah,
because he's not signed it yet. It's not like his contract expires in January. He's still got 18 months. Worst comes to worst, we'll have to sell him in the summer for a bit of a cut price, but I think he will sign the deal.
Yeah.
If West Ham continue to do well and get European football again, there's no rush for us to get bullied into selling low. it was a similar situation with Rice, but with that one, I think we all knew Deck would eventually go because he's obviously of a very high level. I think Bowen will stay at West Ham United.
How much are you worth, Jarrod Bowen, to you right now? If you was in the market right now and you looked at Jarrod Bowen as a player, how much would you say he's worth?
I don't want to go overboard, but obviously Anthony went for 90 million. I think we can all agree. I don't want to necessarily compare it to that because I think we can all agree that was just a rip-off. But
Yeah.
I'd be wanting certainly more than 50 million for Jarrod Bowen. Near it, but I'd probably say he's worth just over 50 million. But as a club, we would definitely and should demand more.
I think he's worth a lot more than 50 mil. I don't believe this is why I don't believe the sort of release clause thing, right? Because when you've got a man who's scoring goals on form, 50 mil in today's market's not a lot for a player who's Premier League proven, who's scoring goals, who's on the borders of the England squad. Let's be honest. If he goes to a big six club, he gets in the England side straight away, all day long. I think he's worth about 75 currently right now. I think if you was going out and you was looking for a player on the right-hand side who tracks back, scores goals, makes goals, he's very rarely injured. For me, 75 is the bottom line. I think I would take for Jarrod Bowen. Anything higher than that's amazing. But I think 75 myself. I really, really do. Are West Ham becoming a selling club, Alf, for you? Because I'm starting to see it a little bit.
I think we are a selling club. I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Thomas Frank who said every club's a selling club for the right price, apart from Real Madrid, Man City, because they're the top of the top. If Liverpool are better than us, I know Antonio doesn't agree, but they are better than us. So if Liverpool come in, like they're one of the biggest clubs in the world, we just sadly aren't, and that's not going to change overnight. I think even Newcastle at the moment are a selling club, and they've got Champions League Saudi fortunes. Guimaraes has had a release clause inserted on his new contract, so we are a selling club at the moment. The question is, will we be bullied into selling low? And I think the evidence from the summer transfer window regarding Rice and Paqueta would be that we're not getting bullied.
Yeah. Listen, the only thing I do worry about West Ham is I hope this ain't like sort of a little trend that's going on there. Obviously, we knew about Declan Rice for years. Yeah, leaving. We always knew every year his name would pop up, and it wasn't a case of if he was going to leave, it's a case of when. Now, this Jarrod Bowen one. I don't think West Ham can afford to get rid of Bowen and Paqueta next season. Like, I think Paqueta ain't here next season. I think Paqueta's gone. Yeah, I really do. I think teams will come in for him and get him out of that sort of contract, which he's got a release clause of 85 million, I think it is. Yeah. We can't lose both of them. We really can't. And how do you see it going in regards to this, though, Alf? Like, because we've got a player who's on form. We've got teams that are going to be looking at him and going, this geezer's got 18 months left. Like, can we get him out of West Ham in January even with a nice bid?
Well, I don't think Liverpool will come in January, and I think we'd be stupid to sell in January. The January window, for the most part, is just.
But let me put it this way to you. Saudis come in from Salah in January. Yeah, they offer 200 million for Mo Salah, who's got, I think, 18 months left on his contract. I think. Yeah. Liverpool go and put a bid into West Ham, and they put a bid in for, say, £80 million for Jarrod Bowen in January. Yeah. Do you sell him?
Depends where we are. I would.
Because the reason why I say that is I honestly do believe Liverpool will be the team that goes in for Bowen. I really, really do. I strongly.
If it's anyone, it's them. Chelsea don't do the right winger. He don't suit Man City. Arsenal, they've got Saka. They won't be paying big money for a backup. They'll get someone like Trossard, but on the other side. Man United are crap. So Yeah, it will be Liverpool or West Ham, and I think it'll be West Ham that he stays at.
Yeah, I'm nervous about this one. I really am. Right, not so much about the £50 million release clause. I think that's a load of old bollocks, if I'm being honest. I don't like to say it, but I just do, because I don't think the club is in a situation to be dictated to by an agent. Not like, you've only got to see what happened with the Declan Rice thing. West Ham were prepared to sit there for months and wait until they got what they wanted. So I don't believe that at all. I really don't. The fear I have is that whatever happens with Salah at Liverpool will affect West Ham, because I just look at West Ham right now. £80 million for Jarrod Bowen is a good price. It's a good price, really. Do you know what I'm saying? But I agree with what Andy's saying there. Don't sell in January, as it will derail our season. It would do, but then if you've got a man who's not prepared to sign a new deal, can you accept him going for 50 million next season, like with 1 year left? How much would he be worth with 1 year left, Alf, for you?
50 million, I think
Yeah.
he'd get bought for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 50 million.
Like the release clause, I mean, unless his agent's the most stupid person of all time, which I don't know who his agent is, but that's obviously not going to happen. It's just no.
Yeah, but the thing is, why would West Ham? Well, why would his agent be doing that right now? Like, why would he sort of be putting in these demands, so to speak, when he's playing the best football of his career, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Well, I don't know. I personally don't believe that one.
Nor do I, mate, really. I'm not going to lie. Right. What do you think about... so I see saying clearly on today about Paqueta. Yeah, if West Ham was to sell both of these players next season and got the combined total of, say, 160 million, so that's 85 for one and probably 75 to like 65 for another, yeah. Do you think it would help West Ham long term if we got rid of Bowen and Paqueta next season and sort of done exactly what we've done this season and just revamp the squad up with better players, like stronger squad?
Probably would, to be fair. I think you've always got to sell at the right price, especially in the position we're in. Rice selling was a good choice in the end. We've got better. Rice has gone to a better team. Paqueta's going to go. The only reason he stayed is because of the flipping betting thing. So he will go. It's just a case of whether Bowen joins him. And I think we've got replacements in the club already, in Kudus and... Well, we've got Kudus in the club already, and then we're going to go and hopefully get someone else as well.
I actually agree with you on that. That's one thing I do agree with you on. Someone said it to me earlier on. Yeah, they said about Bowen, who's going to replace Bowen. I think the Bowen replacement is already here in Kudus. I really do, because let's be honest, when you're sitting there and you're looking at the team, you're going, you've got to try and fit Mohamed Kudus into the team. You shouldn't have to fit this player into the team. He should already be easy to put him in. Do you know what I'm saying? And I am a bit worried about this one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to lie. And I don't think this is on Moyes. I don't think this is when people say about Moyes and attacking managers and all that. If Bowen wants to stay, he would want to stay, wouldn't he? WestHamOnline. Like, it's a given, isn't it?
He said loads of times how much he loves playing under Moyes. So it's not about Moyes.
Yeah, no worries at all, mate. Let's get to some comments while you do your thing. Right, check your comments here. We are a selling club. It's just that we finally got players worth buying. I agree on that. Do you know what I'm saying? Losing, obviously, Declan Rice in the summer is one thing. And now, if we lose Bowen, that is a bit of a hard one to take, though, Bowen. I'm not going to lie. He's the main threat at West Ham, really. If he's not scoring goals, we don't really score. So, you know what I'm saying? Draynor Hammers, hope you're well, mate. Afternoon all. He has to be worth 100 million if he makes and scores goals and he can defend. I don't think he's worth 100 million, Draynor. I'm not going to lie. I think he's worth about 80 million, 75 to 80 million. I think if he goes and scores 20 goals this season, which, let's be honest, he's on the verge, he can do it, then maybe. But right now, I don't think so. Will Danny want to move to Merseyside? I doubt it. His girls will be close to her mum. I agree on that. I just think the Liverpool connection right now is strong. And when I spoke to Jack the other week, Jack sort of said to me, he said, right, rumours around Liverpool are that they know Salah is going to go, he's going to leave the club. And if you just know, if Saudi money comes in, the first person they're going to hit is on Bowen straight away. They're going to pinpoint Bowen and say, right, he's the one that we've been watching. Klopp likes him. It's a major concern, really. It really is. See, with success, ends up losing all your best players. If Bowen wants to leave, there's no point in trying to hang on to someone who wants to leave. I agree with Eric on that. Do you know what I'm saying? If he wants to leave, he's no different to sort of Declan Rice, really. If he wants to leave and he wants to go and pursue other avenues, then so be it. I just think with the Jarrod Bowen thing, I think where he sort of got a sort of connection with the club, with his missus and his father-in-law and everything else, I think it's going to be a lot harder to lose Bowen because of what he also does bring, goals-wise and assists and everything else. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a blow. He's not a particularly unique profile. I think Mr. Steinem can get a good enough replacement for 30, 40 million. Yeah, I know, but what it is with Jarrod Bowen is he very rarely gets injured. He's always fit and firing. The only thing with Bowen that I've got to say that people don't really sort of mention is when he's sort of playing against decent like fullbacks, he doesn't have a really good game. Some games he does go missing. Against sort of lesser fullbacks, he's pretty lively. But when he's up against top quality fullbacks in certain competitions, he can be a bit quiet. But he's still been brilliant this season. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, let's get to a few more comments before I get Alfie. Glenn, hope you're well. Jazza, hope you're well. Kudus would replace Bowen, but who would replace Paqueta? Who would replace Paqueta? Alfie, if we lost Paqueta?
Hopefully someone like Morgan Gibbs White, that sort of mould of player. But I don't know how much they'd be asking for. I'd want someone of like that profile, but not Gibbs White, because I think Forest would demand about 60 million. I think we could get a player just as good for probably 20.
Do you think, and I'm going to say this to you because I thought it's the perfect person to ask, especially when it comes to David Moyes. Do you think this all does depend on David Moyes signing a new contract? Because if Moyes signs a new deal, then this is what we've got. Basically, this is the mould that we've got. Like, this is the style of play we're playing, and then it sort of shuts everyone down. Then to say like, this is what it is. Stop moaning about it. Get on with it, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I think I want to see Moyes sign a new deal. I think he's, apart from last season in the league, everything he's done at West Ham has been great. I think we started the season well. The new players have bought into what he's wanting. Ward-Prowse, Alvarez has been great. Obviously, Mavropanos and Kudus aren't starting yet, but I think that's a reflection on how well the team are doing. So, yeah, I think we're in a good position. And at the same time, we're in no rush to sell Jarrod Bowen because I think Fornals and Benrahma are likely to go in the summer, probably Cornet too. That, for them three combined, you're probably looking at 50 million or not far off. So, we're raising funds. And if we can bring one or two people through the youth squad, which I think we should be able to at some point with how well they're doing, that might help us out a little bit in terms of money.
Yeah, but can we though? Can we bring players in and expect them to sort of develop the way Bowen has? Like, don't get me wrong, like, and people slag off Moyes, and listen, I've slagged off Moyes many a times, yeah. But people slag off Moyes, but Moyes is the one who signed Jarrod Bowen. Like, he's the one who pinpointed him in at Hull and said, "I want that player," and he got him for, I think it's like 25 million, and now we're looking at probably trebling that money on him. Do you know what I'm saying? So, for me, I don't know. I'm not liking this sort of selling players though. Yeah, I don't want us to become like a selling club. Like every season we have to get rid of one of our players to sort of balance the book, so to speak. But then I do want West Ham to sort of progress and get up the league. So it's a catch-22 situation. How do you sort of what can you accept basically? Do you know what I mean? Can I accept losing Jarrod Bowen if West Ham are going to go out and sign 3 other players? Maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? But it all depends on the players, doesn't it? That's a great shout. That is a great shout. Pedro Neto at Wolves, I would 1,000% have that geezer, mate. The only problem with him is he gets injured quite a lot. He does like to catch an injury, but I've liked him for a long time. I know he's left-sided, so he's not on the right, but as a left-sided attacker, I think that Wolves is wasted. Would you have Neto, Alf?
Yeah, 100%.
Why would you have Neto?
I think he's a great runner. I think he's dynamic. I've always been a big fan of him. It's just he struggled a bit when he came back from the injury. I think he'll probably... I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool look at Neto, to be honest.
The only problem is with Neto is it's the injury thing. That's the only thing I will say. With him, with an injury, he does like to catch an injury. And the one thing that Bowen's got in his favour is he's very, very rarely injured, isn't he? Let's be honest. Like, he's always sort of, he's always playing sort of 30 games plus a season in the Premier League. Like, he might be rested for one game or he might be on the bench or something like that. But 90% of the season, he's always playing. So, like, when you've got a player like that, it's like a bit like Declan Rice, isn't it? Declan Rice never got injured. He always played every game. He looked after himself. I think the same thing happens with Bowen. Elise off Palace. What do you reckon?
No, we're not getting him.
No. I would love it. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're not going to get him, I don't think. Same with Deck till he went to the Gooners and now he's injured. Yeah, I know, he did get injured the other day.
Good last night, Deck. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I did see, to sort of go off topic a little bit, I did see your sort of post earlier the other day, getting a lot of stick for your Declan Rice love affair. Do you have anything to say about it?
I love Declan Rice and I always will. Favourite West Ham player of the last however long.
For all the years that you've been a West Ham fan, is it, Alf? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I've got to be honest. Yeah. I've gone past that now. I just want to beat Arsenal. That's all I care about. Do you know what I'm saying? So, obviously, Alf, to round it up, how do you want to assess this moving forward with Bowen? What do you predict is going to happen?
I think he's going to sign a new deal, stay at the club and become a club legend.
Do you think, just to sort of say this, whatever happens in the next sort of, let's say 6 months, if he don't sign a new contract, do you think that might tarnish him a little bit because of the goal he scored in Prague and all that? Because listen, we all see what happened with Declan Rice, yeah? And I weren't happy when Deck left. I very much wasn't happy when Deck left, yeah? I was quite angry, really. With Bowen, he scored the winning goal in the final to win us our trophy, like our first trophy that we've seen for ever, yeah? Is it a case that the longer this goes on, if it doesn't get sorted out, could he be vilified, Jarrod Bowen, for wanting to leave?
He will never be vilified by me. That's for sure. Scoring the goal in Prague's good enough for me. I'll always love Bowen now. He's my favourite current player at the club. Love him. Absolutely love Jarrod Bowen. And he might by some people, but all I'll say is remember the goal in Prague. That was one. No contract is worth more than that.
It's true, mate. It's true. I agree. 100 million, please. I don't think we're getting 100 million for him, mate. I really don't. I will say that. I agree he'll sign a deal with a appropriate buyout clause. What do you think the buyout clause will be, Alf?
Better be up north of 70 if we're going to put a clause in.
I think it has to be, 75 myself. It has to be. Like, anything less than £70 million is just not, it's just not. I just don't get it. Do you know what I mean? Because he's one of the best, I'd say he's one of the best right wingers on form with the Premier League right now.
I can see why players are putting clauses in their contract now, though, and I don't blame the players at all.
Why?
Clubs can literally hold you hostage now with how bad the market is. You've got to put some sort of clause in there now. And that's why Guimaraes has done it at Newcastle as well, because they could just go, oh, we'll have 300 million. And obviously no one's ever going to pay it.
Yeah, but what is I get that. I get what you're saying. But what is a reasonable clause, so to speak, to say, right, because you've also got to look at the long-term future of the club, isn't it, really? Mm-hmm. So what is a good clause to sort of have in your contract?
70. If someone pays out 70, that means he'd have had a very good season, especially for his age.
I don't know. I think 70's. I don't think 70's enough, mate. I really don't. I think if you turned around and you said, right, we're getting rid of Jarrod Bowen's got a £70 million release clause in his contract currently right now. I think people would laugh at that and go out there and just pay that. Like when you look at Anthony at 90 million, yeah, and you look at other players who have gone for, let's be honest, stupid money, yeah, and then you look at Jarrod Bowen, who is a sort of Premier League consistent performer. Let's be honest, like last season, he didn't really have a good season, but I think his head was more focused on the World Cup rather than West Ham. And I think after the World Cup, he was perfectly fine. I look at it right now. I think it's got to be at least higher of 70. It has to be. Like personally, if it was me, I'd put £100 million release calls in there. I'd say, right, if you're scoring goals and you're putting in, let's be honest, when does Jarrod Bowen really ever put in a really, really bad performance? I don't think I've ever rated him ever on the player ratings less than a 5, which is like average in my opinion. Yeah. I've never rated him like a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or anything like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, when I look at him, I think if he carries on going the way he's going and scores goals and makes goals, and let's be honest, if we get to a sort of final this season of any note, it's got to be at least 100 million buyout, surely. Like because then that way, West Ham have got the finances to go and buy at least 2 really quality players. Like I just think 70 million is not enough, mate. I really do. And I think 50 million, like when people say 50 million release clause, these agents were saying, I think that's just a lot of old bollocks, mate, if I'm being honest. Because no one in their right mind, no one is going to put that in the contract. Not one person.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, Rice would fit into any team, any system, but Bowen wouldn't. He's not technical enough to play for City. Yeah.
Agreed.
Controversial opinion here, Alf. But Bowen isn't good enough to become a club legend. He is a very good player, but he has nowhere near the technical ability of other wingers. What do you make of that?
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with that. He's not the most, like Felipe Anderson had more technical ability than him, but that don't really matter because Bowen makes the most of what he's got. His shooting's ridiculous. He's workhorse. He gets goals. He gets assists. He scored the winning goal in Prague for a start. I mean, for me, he's already close to being a club legend just for that. But if Bowen signed a new deal and then we went on and played more good years in Europe and potentially even won another trophy, I'd want a statue outside the ground, let alone being a legend.
I actually agree with you on that. Like, I think he's close to it, isn't he? Let's be honest. Like, it's like legend status at the minute, isn't it? Like he scores he will become like another Trevor Brooking. So like Trevor Brooking who scored the goal, the FA Cup final goal, and he's got like a stand named after him.
Yeah.
I think what it is with Bowen, for me personally, is where does he want his career to go? Right? Does he want to do a Declan Rice, go and play Champions League? I don't want to knock Arsenal, but even though I don't like Arsenal currently right now, but does he want to go and be a team that is going to compete for the title, but not necessarily win the title? Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's just a case of him, though, really. Do you know? I don't think he's got that ego about him that he wants to go and sort of better his career. I think Jarrod Bowen, the sort of player, the sort of man that I think he's come from a working class, like sort of farmer's background, and he accepts. He's quite laid back to see wherever he lands, he lands sort of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? But
I think it's clear as well. He clearly thinks that he's one of the best players at the club now. He's said he wants to be the main man, like the guy that people turn to. So his wages need to reflect that. And from what I've heard so far, we haven't offered him what Danny Ings is earning. So, I mean, what's that all about? Why are we offering Danny Ings more wages?
Well, hold on. You got to say that again, because I just read that comment out from George. Shout out to George, yeah. Can you just tell me what you said about Danny Ings? Are you saying that they're not matching the money that Danny Ings is on?
Yeah.
Well, then, why is it that no one's outside the fucking stadium right now protesting?
Yeah,
because
he should be on 140 grand a week, definitely.
Is that what Danny Ings is on? I thought he was on about 125.
Yeah, Danny Ings is on 125, which is absolutely disgusting that we ever agreed that. But Bowen should be on more than Ings. If I was Bowen's agent, I'd be saying, flipping hell, you got that Pratt on 125. We want more
Yeah.
than that, if not the same.
You've got to match it. You have to. Like, there's no arguments about this. You have to match that. Whatever Danny Ings is on, because obviously Danny Ings is the highest paid player at the club, which is absolutely insulting. And let's be real. Right, when you look at it, and look, even Michael says it here, and we'll get to other comments in a minute, yeah? Bowen is on 80k, Danny Ings is on 125 grand, Antonio's on 125 grand.
I don't think Antonio's on as much as Ings, which is disgusting in itself. Antonio should definitely be on more than Ings. I mean, everyone should be at the club. I'm looking at it now. Highest paid player at the club apparently is Lucas Paqueta, followed by Danny Ings. Bowen is flipping hell. Bowen, can't even see him on the list for highest paid player. He's below Thomas Souček. He's below Pablo Fornals. He's below Maxwell Cornet. He's below Angelo Bonner. He's below Tilo Kehrer.
That is bad, mate. That is bad. Like, he's below. Like, just tell me them again. He's below Angelo Bonner, Thomas Souček.
I'll tell you every name. There's a lot. Souček, Fornals, Fabianski, Cornet, Ogbonna, Tilo Kehrer, Antonio, Kudus, Emerson, Edson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse, Alphonse Areola, Kurt Zuma, Danny Ings, Lucas Paqueta. So about 13 players.
He's below Maxwell Poxy Cornet. You've got to get on the pitch. Christ. Oh my God! No wonder he's getting pissed off, mate. Because I would be. Well, when you know, Alf, like, be honest.
Yeah.
If you're the man who's scoring the goals, scored the goal in front, and you got Poxy Maxwell Cornet up sitting on the bench, going having a cigar and like bloody chilling, right? Oh, mate, what's Maxwell Cornet on? Because can you tell me what he's on? Because I need to know.
I've only got his annual wage here, but annually he's earning 1 minute. Cornet, where is he gone? 3.3 million a year.
3.3. So what's that? That's about. It's about 100. What's that? It's about 110 grand a week. I think he's on.
Some of the numbers on here. Kehra's on 4.1 million a year. Emerson, he started to prove he's worth it now, but the fact that we signed him at the start on close to 5 million a year when we didn't even know he was good. Areola signed as a second choice, and he's on 6 million a year. And then we've got Danny Ings, who I said at the time, and I'm going to say it now, is the worst signing I've ever seen. Even worse than Scamacca and all these people, because he's ruined the wage structure with that. I mean, it was the worst signing. He's holding back Mabama. He's meaning we're going to have to pay more to Bowen. He's absolutely crap. He didn't help us at all last season, really. He scored 2 goals against Forest, but I mean, a striker's got to score at some point. He's just completely the worst signing I've ever witnessed, and that was a David Gold present, apparently. Not David Gold, sorry. Rest in peace, David Gold. David Sullivan present. To Moyes.
Usual suspect. Hope you're well, mate. Until Moyes is gone, and the Arabs buy us the club, we'll always be a selling one. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't think I know what you're saying about the selling side of it, but I think you've also got to look at it that we've developed good players. And let's be honest, like the players that we've developed.
On about 50 something grand a week. Someone's just said Cornet's on 63 a week.
Oh my God, 50 grand a week. That's an insult, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd take 50 grand a week, but.
Yeah, no, but would you take 50 grand a week though, Alf? If like you got someone like Maxwell Cornet who's sitting on the bench doing literally nothing, like nothing at all, yeah? Would you take 50 grand then? Because he's got to be on double that. He's got to be on 100 grand a week, the geezer.
What Jazz is saying now, Ings basically kept us up by scoring against Forest. I think even if he didn't score, we would have won the game. And even if we didn't win that game, we probably would have stayed up eventually. We'd have found the points elsewhere. I mean, it was just a shocking signing. I mean, so bad. He's finished before he came in. We played with one up front. Think about it this way. We had Ings starting for a while. If Antonio started more of the games that Ings was starting at the time, we would have definitely got more points.
Look at that. Maxwell Cornet, 3.3 million, 63k a week. That is just, and then you got Jarrod Bowen who's on 50k a week. That's an insult, mate. No wonder he's pissed off. And no wonder he's got the right to be pissed off. Let's be real. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's done with that. Not only that, Tilo Kera's in there and all. You've got Tilo in there. You've got a Bonner in there. You know what I mean? He must be still on the same contract that he got when he signed. There hasn't been no sort of pay rises or nothing. Do you know what I mean?
He's probably got goal incentives and stuff like that. But
no wonder he celebrates he scores, because that's the only way he's earning his dough, mate. That pays his tax bill for a little while. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's not me for six, that one. Right, listen, people, I've got 46 people in the chat. Please do special like on the video. It goes a long way. Put your questions in for Alfie. Anything you want to ask Alf, you're entitled to ask him anything you like. Nothing is beyond any limits. So if you want to discuss anything with him, chuck it in the chat. You know what I mean? Ings is saving for our pension. Mate, that's bad. 95k a week he's on, Alf.
Yeah, and also I want to point out, this is a bit off topic, but Connor Coventry's got a wonderful job. 200 grand a year he gets to be club bench warmer.
Mate, what's going on at West Ham, mate? Thing is, like, do you think, though, Alf, that we might be in a bit of a situation where we might have to sell players to give Bowen a new contract?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to sell players after giving him the contract, definitely.
Yeah, it's true. Let's get to a few of these comments. Question for Alf or Alfie: what are your top 3 favourite home kits, Alf? That's a good question.
I liked the one when it was behind closed doors. I like that one. I like the one in 2013-14, and I like the old-fashioned one when the year we beat Arsenal in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one when we won 1-0.
Mate, I see a video the other day, and I know there's a lot of woke West Ham fans out there, you know what I mean, who been slagging off Di Canio and everything. But I see a video yesterday, and I retweeted it. Talk about bring back memories, mate. I was 12 or 13 years old on that when Di Canio scored that goal against Arsenal, and we won 2-1. And I'll never forget walking into business studies on the Monday morning and surrounded by a load of Arsenal fans. And I was like, loving it, mate, with the old Paolo Di Canio chant. But it was a powerful moment. I will say that. Let's get to this one. Number 41 had a mare last night for that North London club. I like how Usual Suspect has diverged away from the name of the player and the name of the club. I do love it, Usual Suspect, and I do rate that highly, mate. I will say that. Question, WestHamOnline: if at Xmas we are in the top 6, do you offer Moyes a 3-year contract?
I don't think we have. I would personally, it would make me happy, but I don't think we have any need to offer him a contract too fast, because we know he wants to stay at the club, and I will be honest, no club above him are looking at David Moyes to get him. He's ours. So I want him to get a contract at some point, though, definitely.
Cool. Imagine if Man United come back in for him.
Well, no manager since he left has gone further than needed in the Champions League.
Listen, I tweeted something yesterday, yeah? I only lost a few followers because of you and all, but I'll get to that later. I turned around and basically said that when you look at Manchester United's defending, you look at West Ham's defending, it's night and day what teams drilled, how to defend. Because did you watch that game last night with them? They got absolutely destroyed, mate. Defense, like their defense was just poor. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were terrible. Yeah,
absolutely.
They were absolutely shocking.
I've seen better Sunday League defending from a load of pissheads, mate, who went out on the Saturday night. Trust me, that is no joke. Alfie, what do you think of that VAR fiasco at Spurs? Shocking, mate. What do you make of that? What? Oh, that's a point. We'll talk about that. What do you make of the audio, Alf?
Well, listen to it back. None of them know what each other are doing. None of them know what decision's been made. One of them seems to be eating the mic. I think he forgot to have lunch or something, and the mic was in his mouth, literally eating it.
Yeah.
They all forgot what was given, didn't even watch the game. Even the guy who made the decision on VAR, after they started playing on, he had to be told that, the goal didn't stand. So he probably weren't even watching. I mean, it was crazy, horrendous.
That is bad, mate. I must admit. I need to know though, Alf. Was it who was it? Because it wasn't the video assistant referee, was it? It wasn't the VAR ref. It wasn't the second in command. It was someone else who was saying, "Hold a minute, this is not right."
Yeah,
I can't remember.
allowed.
Yeah, it was someone else who said it. Someone could tell me in the chat.
The infamous Ollie.
Yeah, Joe, what? When I heard that, I was driving back to Suffolk. Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I was like, wow, that is just so bad on so many levels. Like so bad. Like, talk about how can so many geezers have so many cameras, unbelievable technology, and it's like they didn't have a clue what was going on. Like, it was like what you're saying is absolutely spot on. It was like they'd gone, yeah, it's a decision, let it go, and they've carried on doing something else, like playing FIFA or something. Do you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's mad. Unsure how much you follow American sports, but one of the most interesting differences I've noticed is that in American sports, contract discussions are highly public, completely opposite in football. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. The only problem is we've got to make sure that we get him tied down. Any clue the type of contract being offered to Bowen, and what are the discussions? What are the discussions, Alf? What are you saying?
Well,
what do you reckon on that?
All we know is he's being offered lower than Danny Ings at the moment.
And I know something, like if I was the agent of Jarrod Bowen, I'd tell him to go in there and come back with a calculator and some more numbers, mate, because anyone who's getting more than Danny Ings right now is like deserves it. Let's put it like that. And Danny Ings don't deserve nothing. But yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Anything else, Alf, you want to add? Anything? We talked about the fiasco with the VAR. What did you make of the red cards in that game, Alf? Client spoke to you.
I thought they were red cards, to be honest. I know some people think Jones's one weren't a red. I think 50-50 maybe. The Jota one was definitely a red. He should have been sent off before that. He'd already made 3 or 4 fouls, and he was stupid to make the second foul anyway. So that was on Jota for me.
Yes.
I will say I don't think the people come at the ref in that game. I don't really think the ref was he weren't great in the game. Don't get me wrong, but he couldn't do anything about the VAR thing. That was nothing to do with him.
Yeah, I actually agree on that. I think the first one is unlucky. I really do. I think when if you're playing football, Alf, you play football, so you know that like when there's tackles going in, it seems like if you hit the ball now, and like your momentum goes into a player, you can still get sent off for that, which I think is a bit wrong.
In my mate's garden the other day, I went in for a slide tackle, got the ball, but went over and wiped him out, and it weren't given a penalty. So maybe they need to stick to our rules.
I don't know, mate. Prison rules. Do you know what I'm saying? I agree with Alfie. They were red cards. I couldn't understand the fuss from Eric John. I think the first one, I get why it's a red because it looks bad. The one thing I will say, and I do agree with what Klopp was saying in his interview, is why they not showing the full video, but why are they showing the still of the incident? Because
the still image does make it look bad, but it weren't great. Let's be real. Even if he did go over the top of the ball a bit, I mean, he's still.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Don't get me wrong, but if I show you a video or something and you can sort of make you can see the context of it, then if I show you a still or something, it makes it look a lot worse than it actually is, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It looks more aggressive than it actually was, if that makes sense. I think the Jota first yellow card's poor from the ref. I think he got that wrong, mate. I really do. And I think the second one was absolutely stupid from Jota. I will say that. Question: out of everyone who comes on E20 zone, including Clive, shout out Clive, where is he? Who are you putting your money on to finish a one-on-one chance in the 90th minute. Well, Clive has been away. He's coming back soon. He'll be back on the channel when he's ready to do so. Who would I have my money on? God, that's a good question. I would probably say Alfie, because Lucas is not good. I think Mitch and Alfie are. I think Mitch and Alfie are like a toss of a coin. And if I had to put my last pounds, pence, and cent on it, I would probably go with Alfie. I think he can play the game. He knows what he's doing. And if I said, Alf, there's a drink in it for you, I don't think he would let me down. I think Mitch would probably like stick it in Rome's head or something. He'd probably fall over the ball or something. I'd be like, oh no, what am I going on? Do you know what I mean? But, first impressions always stick in the mind. So showing the steal makes up the referee's mind. I agree on that 100%. Do you know what I mean? Anything else you want to ask, Alf? Any questions you want to ask me? Anything you want to chat about before we sort of come to the end?
Did you ever play football, James, when you were younger?
I did, mate. I did. I tell you what, I used to play. I used to have a weird position. Right, I'm right-footed, but I used to play on the left-hand side because I used to always like to cut in. Because I remember players back in the day when I used to watch West Ham, like Stan Lazaridis, who used to be like Australian player, like just whip it up and down the pitch, like really good. I remember Andy Impey, who's a decent player. And then obviously as I sort of got older, Trevor St. Clair. I just like them sort of wingers. I've never been like I never liked sort of the strikers like mould because it was just too hustle and bustle all the time. But I always liked the wingers, like who could cut inside and have a shot. So yeah, I did used to play, mate, but only for a few years, and then obviously life takes over, doesn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? Here's a question for you, Alf. What's the best? No, I ain't gonna say what's the best. When you've been playing Sunday League, yeah. How do people respect the referees on Sunday League? Because I see a lot of stuff on, like, especially on Talk Sport, where people talk about the referees in Sunday League get a lot of abuse. Like, is it really as bad as what people say, or is it not?
Yeah, definitely. I think I can understand why. I put this on Twitter the other day. I can understand why the refereeing standard in the Prem is so bad, because why would you want to be a ref? I remember one Sunday League game, I'm not going to say anyone's names, but we were winning for 3-2. Could have had a penalty in the box. They went up the other end and chipped it over the keeper. And what ensued was the manager and our player basically threatening the ref. I think the ref might have even got punched or something. And then the ref swore back, which they're not allowed to do, and the game got abandoned. And the one team I played for, it was like that every week. There was genuinely a fight every week. But my last team that I played for in Sunday League, I don't know. I think it depends on the team. Most of the teams that are really crap tend to get in a lot of fights.
But so, how would that be sort of resolved then? After the game's finished, this game's been abandoned. What would be the protocol on
that? Player and manager are banned from the next game. Right. Or fined. If you get a yellow, you get fined. But at this specific occasion, they were banned for a few months, I think. And
what happens with the ref then? The ref just sort of carries on?
He has to write his report. Our manager puts his report out, and then they go from there. But I imagine he would have been fine.
Because I see something on, I think it was in Thurrock, if I remember rightly. It was a Thurrock District League, I think it was. Excuse me. And I see like a big, massive punch up there. And I mean, like, you had 22 lads just literally punching shit out of each other, like really, really going to town. And the problem is, it's just mayhem. It's just carnage. It's like going out on a Saturday night on the piss, yeah, with 11 lads, and then you see another 11 lads, and you just have a turnout. But it's just have like a big, massive punch up. And the difference is there's kids there and everything. And like, I see the thing that done me with that video, yeah, and don't get me wrong, this is not a new thing that's happened with the referees, especially in Sunday League, right? Because I know that for a fact, yeah, even back in the day, I used to go over and see a lot of my family members who used to play football and all that, and it used to kick off big time. Like, people would go to their cars and put out machetes and like floor hammers and things like that.
We had people coming back with knuckle dusters on their hands and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying, and it's just like someone's going to get killed in the end, and like it. I think they've got to take I think what they're trying to do to a certain point, which I can understand it. But West Ham, in the referee sort of circle, is that they're trying to take the emotion out of the game, but you can't take the emotion out of a passionate sport. Like, let's be honest, there is no other sport in the world other than football for the passion and the tribalism that it gives. Do you know what I mean? When you, even if you're playing in like 5-a-side or 7-a-side pitches, yeah, and say for example you're playing a few mates, like you want to win. You don't want to just be there trying to kick about. Right? If you're competitive and you've got that winning mentality, and I can understand why people are basically like they're trying to take the emotion out of it because it's too emotional at the minute. Do you know what I'm saying? But how much was the fine, Alf, for that?
Oh, I don't know. I think they had to go to like the thingy court. It's not a proper court, but I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but something.
Have you ever been sent off?
Yeah, once.
Oh, what did you do, Alf? What did you do before we wrap this up? Tell us what you done.
Well, we were winning about 11-0. I'm not even joking. It was about 11-0.
You got sent off on 11-0. Oh God.
And they went to take kickoff, and I went too early, so the guy had to go at me. Then we weren't old at all. And then I chased the guy down to get the ball back afterwards because I was a bit annoyed at him. Tackled him, and then he just punched me, so I punched him back, and we were both sent off. And he ran off. He literally ran off, like he genuinely ran away.
You was 11-0 up, mate. You know what I mean? You need to, you need to chill, mate. Snazzy says, "What video is that, James? What video is that, James? I see it. I see it on something, mate. I can't remember what it was. I think it was on Facebook or Twitter or something. And I remember seeing like the back of the pitches. And obviously, with me, I've got quite a good memory when it comes to sort of places that I've been. I don't really forget. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I recognise the place. And it was over in Thurrock. I think it was over in like Grays, somewhere like that. Yeah, or like East Tilby, something like around that way, right? And it was bad. It was just chaos. It was just, like when I look at situations like that, and there's kids there crying their eyes out and things like that. I can get why the FA and sort of the football league and everything are trying to sort of command like players into a way to say that you can't act like this because you've got a duty of care all the way down the pyramid. So
yeah,
it is a tricky one. Billericay, Essex FA, just a small hole in industrial estate. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Right, we're going to wrap it up there. We've done nearly 52 minutes. Jarrod Bowen is going to sign a new long-term contract once he gets Danny Ings' money. Alf, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really do appreciate it with your insight into Jarrod Bowen. Today, we've discussed that Jarrod Bowen is the most underpaid player at West Ham by the looks of it. Like, even Poxy Maxwell Cornet is getting more money than Jarrod Bowen, which is an insult. It really is. But before we go, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, share the video, help us out, goes a long way. We'll be back tomorrow, all of us, me, Alf, Lucas, Mitch, Freiburg, away. Must-win game. I'm going to say that. Me and Alf are going to do a little preview on it, and we're probably going to release that later on today. But, yeah, listen, big game in Germany. No fans, but we will be there in spirit. Anyway.
Moyes will coach another win.
If Moyes coaches another win, Alf, will we get a face reveal?
No.
There you go. Anyway, take it easy. Peace.